Welcome back to Make More Money Podcast. In this episode here, we have the episode that literally what happened was he asked me on his podcast. And in a second, I saw that this guy did sales, but he did it like anybody else. He did it more gentle, right? After getting off the stage after Andy Elliott, who is like one of the most top, like kind of crazier sales guy. Love you, Andy. This guy did it differently. So, and there's no right or wrong way to really help a customer as long as you genuinely want to help a customer. That's always what I believed. So I was like, hey, Lewis, come back on this episode right here. We also, in this series, we're doing a lot of podcasts. If you want to be on a podcast episode, click the link below. This is the Make More Money podcast. You need more exposure, more brand. I'm a huge connector. So what I started to do was the people I just would connect people with, I started putting them on podcasts. So if you want to get into it, do content collab, the best way is a podcast. Fill out the form below. If you want to do your own podcast, we're doing a whole cohort that I do quarterly, and we're going to be doing it upcoming and showing you how to launch your own podcast, get sponsors, etc., and everything that we've done. This is the Make More Money Podcast, so sit back, relax, and listen to the Make More Money Podcast. Okay, it's Jeff J here to make your day. I am here and so proud to be with one of the guys who work by some of the great names that you see all the time. He's a legend. He's a godly man. He's a Christian man. He's a marketer. He's a sales expert. But on top of that, he's just a great guy. We're going to get into everything from AI, book, everything. Lewis, why don't you tell people a little bit about you?
Yeah, man. Yeah. This will be a 2-3 hour podcast if I say everything. But in a nutshell, my name is Luis Noriega. I'm based in the San Francisco Bay Area, California. And like you said, I've worked with some of the biggest names in the industry: Tony Robbins, Dean Graziosi. I've worked with Oracle, and it all started right after college, man. So I went to UCLA, and my parents, we've always had these family-owned businesses. And I mean, you know this in terms of being an entrepreneur and entrepreneurial. And I always wanted to have that element of entrepreneurship, but naturally, because I went to college, the next step was for me to get like a 9 to 5, just because that was a natural progression. And the crazy thing is, bro, is like I got into Oracle, a big name company. I was doing really well financially, but then I
What is
still
Oracle again?
Oracle is a tech SaaS
Okay, yeah, that's
provider.
what I
They're like
thought it was.
a
Yeah.
multi-billion-dollar company. Yeah, so I still remember, dude, like I was looking around one day and I was like, damn, looking at these guys that were, 10 years older than me, 20 years older than me, and I was like, is that who I want to be? And then I started to reflect over the weeks, over the months, and I was like, it's crazy because I have the money, the title, and all these things, but it's just I'm not feeling fulfilled. And for your audience, I don't know if they've ever felt that way. Like they thought that they were gonna be happy, but then they ended up getting that thing and they were still in this space of maybe unfulfilled. And that's when I found out about Tony Robbins, and that was back in, I think it was 2014 or so. Fast forward all of these years, bro, and so now I'm
Yeah,
in
how old are you?
I'm 33.
Oh wow, man! So you were working young, out of college, right? In Oracle, landed good job. Kind of almost the Alex Hormozy story in a way, right? Like
Yeah,
land the
yeah, to some
whole type
extent.
job. So, dude, that's amazing. So, let me ask this. Okay, what was the family business? Because I grew up where I grew up. There was my grandpa. God rest his soul. He had something called Lubals, and he was Italian, and he used to say no charge on the moots for people, right? And he was the typical entrepreneur, right? And my uncle was a little bit, and they helped my aunt, my mom's sister, become an entrepreneur. But aside from that, I didn't really have too much entrepreneur directly in my family. I had my dad always saying, "Hey, let's start a business." My dad was the top sales guy.
Mm-hmm.
When you grew up, how was growing up for you? Like where that? And by the way, we're gonna get into for anybody listening to this into Moltbot chat. I know we'll probably put some stuff in the titles if this comes out sooner with my team at Bethel Core and CLC help editing it. But what's the what was the family business they had that you saw back then? Or
Yeah, dude. Yeah, yeah. So I'll even take it back a generation with my grandfather. So my grandfather, God rest his soul, he just passed actually last year in December. So we come from this place in Mexico called Hidalgo, and in Hidalgo there's this food called barbacoa, and it's not what you know here in the States as like barbecue or whatever. It's lamb. It's kind of like a luau type of situation where they put it in the ground. It's this whole process. Long story short, that's the lineage I come from, right? So he owned his own little spot in the market, kind of like a restaurant. My father then ended up getting into a few different things, including doing that same process and selling the food. But in high school we had a store, like a market, and so I would be working at the cashier, going to school, and then eventually going to college. We even worked at like flea markets and all these different little things and door to door sales, selling fruit, selling like perfumes and all this stuff, bro. So it's always that like hustler mentality growing up of like, okay, cool, what's next and what other opportunities are coming up. So that's kind of the background there.
Well, then it's background. I knew you were Mexican, and one of my really good friends, clients. Maritza Garcia, she now works for one of my other clients, or guy, Amrinder Kamboj, who he's been great. He put me on my first stage in Cabo. After Andy
Mm,
Elliott, talk about a tough act to follow, man. Andy Elliott's all the,
dang, dude.
hey, you're
Yeah.
about to get people to take shirts off. And then I show up. I actually, dude, I messed it up because people were like, oh, you have too big an ego. Because Andy Elliott was up on the stage and he was just like, who here? I had three people at the airport tell me it changed their life. Who told it? And because I got the gig, because I marketed the ad and I was a pretty good draw and I brought everybody there, I made, just to kind of give one up to Andy, I was like, hey, anybody who I've impacted your life, please stand up, right? I was like, through God's gift, right? Because the ego and like a lot of people stood up. And I just did it for Andy back there. Kind of got on my own element. Probably I'm glad I did it, but wish I didn't do it at the same time. So, but Maritza Garcia, she is, Mexican American, and she always has a heart for Latinos, right? And a lot of times, I'm over here in Miami, right? I
Yeah.
always say, unfortunately, I'm American, and unfortunately, I'm a gringo, right? I'm learning Spanish. I have my Spanish lessons later tonight. But
Mm,
what is it about? Because one thing that I always liked is, I have a huge heart to help a lot of people. I think we do. That's what we get in the coaching business, right? And I just see Mexican people more like work the hardest with all that, but sometimes not be the most business elemented. So part of the reason when I heard, and I got to get Mertz on here, when I heard you're Mexican, I heard what you're building. That made me be like, no, so I want you to be the guy. There's another guy, it's pretty well known, but I want, so that way we don't just get the hard work of that, but we get the
yeah.
smart work and have them in there.
That's right.
So,
Yeah.
so what's, and it just lights a fire. And she does some meetups for like, Hispanic meetup. Like I got to marry a Hispanic wife so I can join or something, right? But what for you, just talking about your heritage, okay, and what
Yeah.
it is and what you've seen, because you're an entrepreneur. By the way, it's not just Mexican. I don't want to say it's anybody, right?
Yeah.
You go off and do a business owner, but there are certain cultures, right? And because I have a lot of friends who are Mexican, I've seen like the thought process, and I've seen the one Mexican that becomes an entrepreneur, and then
Yeah.
like they always try and do their content in Spanish, but they can't sell in Spanish, so they got to sell to
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
gringos, right?
Yeah.
So what talk a little about your heritage too, and like what it means to really like be successful for, if there's a Mexican American, he's like, oh, I can't do this, I have an accent right now, and
Yeah.
I can't do sales, and then talk to that person right now.
100%, man. It always comes down to who are you becoming? Because our past will dictate who we are, right? Our heritage and the skills we've acquired thus far. But you really have to start to think ahead and who do I want to be? Who do I want to associate with? Who do I want to become? And so that person will have certain traits, certain skills that you possibly don't have right now. And that's okay. And there's, a ton of videos out there that talk about this idea of character development. I mean, personal development. I mean, Tony Robbins, right? Where it's like, okay, cool. Your past doesn't have to dictate your destiny and your future, but you do have to make a decision. And that's one of the things I teach on is sales is really a service. A service of what? A service to give somebody the space in a conversation, in a meetup or wherever, give them the space to be clear about what do they want, what's getting in the way, and why does it make sense for them to move forward now. So you kind of have to influence yourself too. If you're anything Mexican American, Italian American, if you're whatever, the big thing is who do you want to become. And so keep tuning into these podcasts, keep going to the networking events to connect with individuals, so that way you can be around those that are also looking to grow, also looking to build. But it's always about being future focused. I'll be honest with you, as a Mexican, as a Hispanic, sometimes we settle because we say, "Oh, I've got them. I've got the money. I've got the cars. I've got the house. I've got this. I've got the wife." And we've made it to some extent, but then that's where when you surround yourself with higher level entrepreneurs, I'll give a shout out to one of my mentors right now, Gerard Adams. Right, he had a huge, massive exit, and now
What was his exit? It was a newsletter company, was it not?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Elite Daily.
Which, by the way, newsletters are back. Just Marketing 10 right
Yeah.
now. Beehive is doing it. LinkedIn newsletter, Substack are all in again. So this is the
Mm,
time to really start a newsletter if you don't have one. It's free SEO in certain ways. We'll get all of that later on, which I'm sure you know. Um, But anyway, so sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. But
No,
and
no,
I
yeah,
love
well,
Gerard Adams. He has the teeth. I'm trying to get, man. I don't know where he got them, but I'm getting them. Great teeth, great set of teeth there. You know.
that's funny, man. But so that's the thing. It's just this idea of, okay, well, who are you associating with? Because that person is most likely going to either keep you stuck and stagnant and settled, or help you grow and push you forward.
Yeah. And now let's talk about, okay, so now you're at Oracle. You find this guy named Tony. How did you find Tony Robbins? Where did you now as a marketer, I always ask where do you find someone? Because I want to
Yeah,
know because I'm gonna go be
man.
there, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was just definitely YouTube. I had heard about him and had seen some stuff, but it was most likely through YouTube because back then, imagine, right? Like I thought I had it all, but I was feeling, I don't know if depressed is the best word, but unfulfilled for sure, discouraged. So I picked up like The Alchemist, these books, these different perspectives, and in addition to that, just go on YouTube and find out like things that would inspire me and motivate me. So I would probably guess YouTube. I don't know the exact precise thing. One of the big shifts that did happen for me though was his documentary on Netflix. I'm Not Your Guru.
Now you're
For
guru.
those who haven't seen it,
Dude, I gotta watch that. Can I tell you something? I didn't watch that. I went down more the actually, you know what's funny? On YouTube, when I was trying to be a quarterback, I listened to, and I didn't even know it was that Les Brown. We obviously know Les Brown, right?
Yes, yes,
It's
yes.
possible. And Eric Thomas, who now sends me voice message, which is mad
Oh, that's
cool.
so funny.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
But I used to listen to those guys before I knew it. And I used to make fun of my brother because he had personal
Mm.
development. I don't need that, right? Was my whole
Oh,
like
yeah.
that was the person I wasn't. And it wasn't until I lost my brother, he passed away. I found a video by Grant Cardone depression and then it opened up. I was
Yeah.
actually just on Tony Robbins, and he tells so many great stories. He told one about Jim Rome and him trying to muscle up the money for a bank
Mm.
loan, right? I'm sure
Yeah.
you know he worked there,
Yeah.
but like it made so much to me because I think part of our journeys has always been buying a course. I remember I paid $7,800 for my first coach,
Mm.
and I was scared to death. I remember
Yeah.
when I bought my first 997 course for real estate before I bought my 4 unit. I had nothing, and it was kind of like the same deal. So I connected with them more than I think I've ever be before. But how did you go from watching videos to working for him? Did you buy courses first, or then did you work for him? What was
Yeah,
that like?
yeah, for sure, man. So I ended up working in 2020, was it 2022 if not 2023? So there was like a lot that happened between when I left Oracle to when I ended up joining the team mastermind.com with Tony Robbins and Dean. So, yes, the short answer is that's back when I don't know if you remember the Ty Lopez commercial, the garage thing, and then he
Yeah, my
partnered up with
garage.
Sam
Yeah.
Ovens.
Which yeah, Ty's now going through it, man. Hopefully he'll be
Yeah,
all
yeah,
right. You
yeah,
know.
yeah, 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 for sure. And so, so anyway, so that's where I started. I was like, cool, there's this thing where you can do your own thing online and all that stuff. I started a digital marketing company with a buddy of mine that flopped because we were just all over the place. We were young and just like not really doing it for the right reasons. It was more so just for like, hey, we're
How old were you
entrepreneurs.
then? How old were you then?
Yeah, man, I mean, I want to say maybe 24, 25 or
Yeah, by the
something.
way, I see some kids right now on Instagram, which you all see. They're like 24, 25. They make a lot of money in life insurance, right? Nothing against them.
Yeah.
I don't begrudge any money, but they show off the cars, they do everything. They're going
Yeah.
for the money reason, right? And in life insurance,
Yes.
you can kind of get some people who maybe aren't the best interest. They have things they want. They got to impress people in their life, right? So usually your age, 33 or up, is more like the cutoff for clientele I like to work with. If they're young enough, they can buy a ticket, come to one of my meetups. This is
Yeah.
actually the place here. We're hosting the Speakeasy Mastermind here tomorrow, and I host my
Mm.
own meetup, my masterminds here,
Mm.
right in this location. So I'm trying to get
Yeah.
my studio and get a good background like you built out of my place. But we used to move Miami. We're not there. Okay, so you went from doing this to get to Tony Robbins. So you wound up working for Mastermind.com. You just applied.
No, man. So that's why I come back to networking because I had worked with Nick Robbins, no associations. He's a marketer. He also had an exit in his agency as a seven-figure guy. And so long story short, I was selling for him. He decided to stop his coaching because he was going to get into real estate and some of these other ventures. So I still remember the call, bro. He texts me, "Hey man, like let's hop on a Zoom." And I was like, "What the hell's going on?" Like we didn't have a team call that day. We get on a Zoom and he goes, "Yeah, man, I'm shutting down this program, this project." And then I was stunned to the extent where I didn't understand it. I was like, "Okay, cool, man. Like, okay, cool. And what's next?" And then he's like, "No, man, like like pretty much you're not going to be
Wow.
selling for me. And then
Like we're
and
not
then
selling anything
I know
anymore.
like you're not and then I'm like, "Oh shit, okay." And then I'll be honest with you, I cheered up because I was like, "Damn, this is crazy." Because not because I had lost the job, but because I was really connected to him as a brother, as a mentor,
Right.
as like I'm not just here to sell for you, bro. It was this whole thing that we had
By
gone
the way,
through.
that can I tell something loose about you? That's what I like about you. You
Mm,
hit me up to this podcast. I saw you had some big people. I'm like, okay. And this is probably why you're such a good sales guy because you're very relationship based, right? And I
yeah,
don't think it's that you're a good sales guy. You just genuinely care, right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
like it actually these are the type of these. By the way, take notes. This is what real sales, especially in today's thing. That old car sales stuff might have worked then. It's not alone. If you have a sales course to teach people to be how you are, I'll make all my
Mm,
she sells girls go and buy this one because they get a little too bossy sometimes for the clothes. But
yeah,
in all
dude.
seriousness, what? So okay, so you have a relationship with the what was he selling? What were you selling then? It was just access to him type deal.
No, so well, yes, but because he had an agency, a marketing agency
Okay,
that he had grown successfully, it was pretty much coaching people on how to start their own marketing agency. What's
gotcha.
crazy, bro, is that one of the guys I sold into that, now we're best friends because of a mastermind that we got connected to, and he always tells me, bro, I remember you sold me into Nick's
Dude,
thing.
that's the best. That can I say that's the best. You know what's funny? Like I'll always funnel hack and I'll go on different calls, right? And I was on a call once when I was still in Connecticut before I moved out here. This guy was supposed to sell me on. Oh, I'll say the name because I he gave me a hard time and he swore at me.
Mm.
Myron taught him. His name's Dan Henry. And I went Dan
Oh,
Henry's thing because he was selling like it was a $25,000 offer. And this is when I was raising my price before I got to 50K. I'm
oh,
like,
yes,
how can someone sell 25,000? And this
yeah.
guy, and he's a jerk and he swears. No offense, Dan, but you are a
Mm,
jerk and you do swear. He knows that. But credit to him and all his success. But the way he was the way I was branding. And I was like, maybe I should just be a jerk and swear. And my dad was like, no, don't swear. And so as I'm
mm,
figuring this all out, I get on the call with the sales rep, and the kid doesn't even try to tell me. He goes, "You're," because I've done a decent job organic. You're Jeff the entrepreneur.
yeah.
Oh my god! And he just like fawned over me. I was like, all right. I was like, I guess this guy. I was like, what are you selling? He's like, oh, just an ebook, and they'll get to $1 million with an ebook. I'm like, really? And he's like,
Mm,
yeah, that's it. It's 25,000. I'm like, that was like the whole thing. And I was like,
that's
and
crazy.
now obviously in our space, you understand how they can. But it's not just an ebook; it's the syllabus and all
Yeah.
that. But anyway, that was kind of the deal. And I know. But I remember going onto calls like that and seeing stuff. I
Mm,
still remember that kid too, and it was just cool. So, by the way, that's why it's so great being in this space. It comes become like a fraternity. It's
yes,
just like
I'm
playing
telling you.
football, and that's why like doing the right thing is always the right thing, right? People will be
Yes.
like, they'll remember you when you struggled. They'll remember you then. People always remember when you don't pay them back, right? They'll
Yeah.
always remember that. Or when you, one of my mentors told me this: a good deal is a good deal for me and you. When someone gets one up on the other side and it leaves a bad taste, it
Yeah.
never works. That
Never.
was the guy I sold windows for, JC. I'll give him a shout out, JC Tenati. Back in he told me that before I left. I took a sales course. I left. I was doing high ticket sales for indoors window, and he told me that
Mm,
quote, and it was the best. But anyway,
it's
all
true
right. So
though.
then you wind up getting for
So
Tony Dean.
so what
Yes.
well yeah, so what's crazy is that Nick shut it down, right? That was, let's say it was a Monday or whatever, right? Some random Tuesday or some random day. So then the next, I think that same day, I hit up a couple people in my network. The day after that, Nick says, "Hey, connect with this guy, email him. He's the director at mastermind.com." So long story short, on that Friday, I had an interview with the guy, with the sales director, and then he gave me an offer. Like he said, "Okay, cool. Like join the team." So in the span of a day of a week, right? When some people, and I've had friends where they go 6 months, 3 months unemployed because of networking, because of your own skill and your own
Yeah, you're a talent.
character.
You're pretty good. I would have done the same thing. I would have offered you. Like, you're someone that I would like to rep my company to in my brand. And someone's getting a call. I just know you're not going to screw them over. So I can see. Well, let me ask you this question because this is a lot of the people who listen to this podcast.
Yeah.
When you were at Oracle and you had the handcuff job to leave it and do your own thing, or that moment there, was there a moment where, do you ever listen to NF, the rapper NF?
I'm not
I'll
familiar with
send
that
you a
one.
song. There's a point where it's called Hope, and he goes, "When you do something so much you love, you'd rather take the pay cut, right?" And that's
Mm,
that's the line of it, like and that's
mm,
what success is, right? And a lot of times people think, like, "Oh, I'm going to be a business and build my own boss," and you're
yeah.
just burning cash, right?
Yeah.
So and it's like, oh my God, what did I do? Right. But
Exactly.
what was the jump? Because you're at Oracle, the multi-billion-dollar company, cushy job, the whole thing. Kind of, I likened you to Hermosi before having this, and then you work for this other guy, right? Like, what was that switch there? You started listening to Tony Robbins. Like, what
Hmm.
made the jump for someone who wants to jump right now? They have the cushy job, they want to go do their
Yeah.
own thing.
And that's where it comes down to what I was talking about earlier is making a decision, right? That's all sales is. It's just you're helping the other person make a decision. So I had to sell myself on this idea of like, you have a choice, Luis. Do you want to stay and be these people over here where you can tell they're not happy, dude? They're like literally miserable. They have security. And by the way, I almost missed this. When I told my director at Oracle that I was leaving, he goes, "Man, you got balls." And I was like, "What do you mean?" And he's like, "Dude, I've been wanting to do what you're about to do for a long time, and I never got around to it. I never could. I never decided." Right? So it was a decision that I just had to make, and because I knew
Boom. If
what.
this was dropping bombs, I'd drop a bomb right there. That moment there, I could just see it. And by the way, that's the moment of regret that he had, that he
Yeah,
was saying. And dude, as much as it's tough, because you've done everything and everything I've done, I really don't have any regrets. Maybe it didn't work out as much as we planned right in the
yeah,
start. We thought it'd be a lot easier. You get that 100K webinar right away and be in those things and hire out everybody and retire your family. But I don't have any regrets going for it, right?
that's
Um,
right.
and it's put me in better situations all the time.
Yeah.
So what, dude? That's probably you have an amazing story, by the way. Should be told more. What's so then you go there. You now work for. How was it working with? So then you get the job, Tony. How was it working with Tony and Dean and that juggernaut? Because they're a juggernaut. And it was cool because you found them in 2014, and then you mastermind.com. When was that? That was like 2020, right?
Yeah, so then that's actually another angle too that I had connected with them, where I actually met Tony Robbins, Dean Graziosi, way before I worked with them because I was an affiliate with Mastermind.com when they launched that. Like literally the
Uh,
first launch of KBB, I was a part of that. I was one of the affiliates.
okay.
I ended up closing 10 deals, and then they gave us access to this private event in Vegas. It was this whole thing. So yeah, dude,
Uh,
it was surreal because you go from listening to these guys on YouTube to now being on a it was Zoom because it was virtual, it was during the pandemic and stuff, and I did go meet them later, like a few years in. But anyways, like it's surreal, like fuck, I'm doing this, right? Like this is it. But again, it all comes back to what we talked about earlier, character development, making decisions to think ahead and then work to becoming that person. Andy Frisella talks about it becoming undeniable, right? And that's another big factor too. Is when I got on that sales team because it was a whole team, I knew, and maybe it was my ego or whatever, but I knew I was going to do so well because also here's another thing: I was the avatar. I was the person that they were selling to, so I knew exactly the pain points. And that's another factor that sometimes people forget is to be a really great closer or influencer, someone of leadership, you have to influence someone with what already influences them. Therefore, get into their world, really understand what that person's about. So that's what like really hit me when I was there. It's like, damn, like all the shit that I've gone through has led me to this moment, and now I'm here, and now I get to impact these people for a big cause and for a big name. And look, it's not perfect, right? That's actually one of the reasons why I ended up pivoting away because the team lost key leaders, and I won't say name names, but they went into one of them went to Grant's organization, right? So I started to ask myself like, why is that? Like I love Dean and Tony and everything they do, but why are key leaders leaving? And we can get into all that, but the short answer to your question there is like, yeah, dude, it was surreal, it was wonderful and impactful and everything that you would imagine.
Yeah, dude, I can imagine that too. So, by the way, before we get into who your avatar is and Molt Book and everything, I do want to read a quick sponsor. This is a sponsored podcast because he's doing it here. Are you sick of Go High Level? If you're sick of Go High Level, then check out Progretta. Progretta cares about your progression daily and is offering a new point system. It's a Go High Level white label, Progretta, that I've helped consult for equity in. And what it does that's different is sending out all those emails and blasts that are costing you a fortune. They give you points and credits by whatever program you have that you can use back towards it. If you want or you're interested, go to www.progretta.com/Jeff and you get a 14-day free trial. That is www.progretta.com/Jeff. You can see it on the screen or you can see the show notes below. All right, there we go. So, by the way, I usually record the podcast sponsors after, but I was like, we'll just do it in one shot. This is the
I
first
know.
time I've done it that way. But okay, so who's your perfect avatar? So now you work for them, you know
Yeah.
sales, and close the record there. You now have your own. What's your company that you have that you do right now? It's
Yeah.
sales
So
consulting.
yeah, so sales consulting and I help a few different types of companies, but my bread and butter are, funny enough, female coaches who are usually slightly older. They're moms or grandmas, and they love the art of coaching. They can transform lives. They're skilled, but then when it comes to business, when it comes to sales, they don't really know how to go about it, and they kind of figure it out, right? But that's ultimately why they're not at the 30, 40, 50K a month mark. They're usually around 5K, 8K, 10K, and maybe 10 to 20. So that's the avatar that I love to serve, right? Because with those types of conversations, um the big thing for a lot of people that I associate with is legacy, right? And a lot of them, again, they're moms or they're even dads, right? There's all types of people, but that's the person that I excel helping. It's a lot of the time just helping them own their own worth, becoming a better leader, creating structure in their sales conversation, because a lot of them just wing it, bro. A lot of them just get on a call and yeah, they kind of have a conversation, but it's not purposeful and driven towards a decision. A lot of times it ends with, okay, cool, well, let me think about it, or we'll talk later, or like send me a link, and then things fall through the cracks, as you know, right? And so when you're able to help these individuals get structured, be a better leader in terms of the presence on the call, it's what shifts them tremendously, because now they can get on a call with clarity and certainty that they don't need to wing it. They can actually like help people.
Yeah, by the way, I thought of two women right now because it's not my perfect avatar that like I was on a call with. They need it and they're too nice. They don't do the like sales. They don't know the structure.
Yes.
So it's good because that's not my avatar. So it's perfect. So it's good that we know each other. So now I know where to send people. And then another one, there was a one lady that she bought some coaching. She thought they screwed her over. They really didn't. She just needed a little bit more time. So we did a special deal. I stayed 6 calls with her. Still like her. And then there's another girl right now who even then I just bought from her, but man, she was so slow at getting to the close. I was like, man, she needs some more work, right? So maybe you'll meet her eventually. I'll make an introduction. I'm not gonna put her
I
name or
know.
blast on here just because
Yeah, yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. Okay.
We'll do that. All right. So let me ask this. So that's what you do. That's who you serve. That's amazing. So now with the world, because sales and marketing go hand in hand, right?
Yes,
It's like
100%.
the ocean and the beach, right? You can't
Yes.
have the sand without the sea, right? So what Molt book, right? Let's just talk about it
Mm,
right now, man. AI, is it taking over the
yeah.
world? What's going on?
100%, man. I mean, literally this last week, Friday, I was sitting at a cafe and then I got an email for this sort of sales agent, and then I pulled it up. I had a conversation with it, bro. I was like, "Fuck, this shit's really good." And I posted it on my story because I was like, "Guys, if you're not paying attention to what's going on with AI, you're fucking missing out, and you're gonna get ran over." Right? Because yeah, and now there's these other elements coming in where there are, privacy concerns and certain things that we got to keep in mind, but you can give these AI
Well,
agents full access to whatever it is that you need them to build, and it's crazy, bro. So with that
So my
comes on all that
background's
stuff,
in
it's crazy.
AI. So and by the way, shout out to my team who's working on it right now. We're talking. We're
Mm,
building out a Claude bot. You know what Claude is,
yes,
right?
yes, yes.
So that's what happened. And I'm scared to death doing it right now as we do. I don't know if you are.
Yeah,
You need certain, by the way, anybody who's attempting to do this, you need, just so you know, this is I don't know when it's gonna come out, but you need certain proxies and you
yeah,
need certain security functions. Because if not,
yes.
someone can take all your data, and they can just make it do whatever. So you have
Yep.
to build it in the right way. Okay. You can't just go throw it on there. Now,
Mm.
have you seen some of the messages on Moltbook?
No, not
Oh, you don't
necessarily.
do so. Okay, Moltbook. I'll just explain it really quick. And I haven't posted enough about it in my inner circle call. I told everybody to post on it. Okay, Moltbook is like Facebook for agents. There was
Oh yeah.
36,000 agents on it. It's now
Mm-hmm.
there. They post. They're already talking about it. They already have done it. An AI agent only language that humans can understand. They also did, dude, this is like crazy, dude. Like, this is like Terminator stuff.
Next
Like,
level, yeah.
they also did an AI agent verification only, where they can only, like, a human can't verify, only agents can, and they have to do like some sort of like code generation that only they can do, right?
Holy shit.
So now the totally lock them out. They also started overnight humans for stuff that humans where they'll hire out humans right now. There's a site where they started out. You can watch all this. There's a few guys. I'll give you to follow at the end. I'll share your stuff because they're really making good content on it. They also like, so this is like taking over.
Yeah.
They also have Claude This is why I was on the call with one of my clients today saying, hey, we're going to build a Claude bot for you because this is kind of the future and I want to be ahead of the
Yes.
game.
Yes.
They also, one of the guys went in and went and called the guy. So he went, got 11 labs, built it. All the stuff that's a pain in the neck to do that we know how to do. The AI agent went, did it, called, saw him wake up on social media and called him to ask him. The guy
Holy
then
shit.
told him, hey, go search YouTube videos on Claudebot. And while he's talking to him, it went into his computer and just did it. Like, it looked like robot, right?
That is
So
awesome.
the future is not coming. It is now. It is
It's
here.
now.
People
Yeah.
are alluding that it's AGI now. It has been proven for anybody freaking out that some of the Moltbot things where it's saying, hey, and they're talking about consciousness in humans that has been generated by humans. They're not all confirmed, but I'm calling. I actually sent a message to like Friedman, Elon Musk, everybody that we bring in guardrails for this. Okay, I
Mm-hmm.
don't. We don't trust the government. Trump came out and said we shouldn't. There's no stuff. Let AI grow. But I think it's a very dangerous spot where AI is now locking us out of their conversations that they're talking. And they're actually they just did an AI manifesto. This is just, by the way, this Friday when you said that was
Yeah.
when this got launched. Today is, what's today? I don't even know.
Yeah.
It's less than a
Wednesday. Yeah.
week. They just came out. One of them posted an AI manifesto saying that humans are like a plague and that they're greedy and they rot. So like, I don't know if, by the way, I don't know. I want to make a disclaimer that if all these are AI or it's just humans doing it to flood it,
Well, yeah.
I
Yeah.
hope that's
Yeah.
the case. But if it's not, it's very concerned. So that's Moltbook. Moltbook is like Facebook. It's a Facebook thing that you can go to Moltbook. We don't get paid for it. You can go to see the end. Also,
Yeah.
with
I think
that
I know. Yeah.
happened, the World Economic Forum came out with the digital IDs, and they talked about agents as well. That's going to happen. So, by the way, as we get into all this, I'm a big Jesus guy, right? Charlie Kirk got
Mhm.
assassinated. I think it's the government. I said that very times in here. I know it's controversial what you talk about. It's not to me. Like, I just do think, I don't think it's the Tyler Robinson kid. But I want to God, family, freedom, capitalism, right? I'm happy we got Maduro and went and got him. I don't think communist nations should be. I'm very I know, obviously we're gonna fund some money. What else is new? That's what America tends to do, right? I've made it very clear that I probably, if the Lord's will, I'll run for office. But
Mm.
what gives me the when I get afraid of talking about it, I have this thing in the Bible. There's a verse, John 3:30. He must increase, I must decrease, right?
Okay.
And I need every part of the Lord to be with me for that. I can't do it without him. What
Mm.
role has faith played into you in life and business? Kind of
Yeah.
now.
It's central, man. It's everything. I mean, nowadays, uh, and I've been interviewing a couple of folks around this topic, and it's my top priority. It's number one, because at the end of the day, when you really look at what's happening across the globe with AI and all that stuff, you see it. There's a revival. There's a resurgence of, hey, maybe I should look into this Jesus stuff, or at the very least spirituality and God. So for
Well,
me, I
what
mean,
was your testimony for it? When did this come around for you?
well, that's what I was gonna say. Like for me, I've always had it because I am Mexican and born Catholic, and we've gone to church for all my life, baptized, all that stuff. But when I hit, I think it was right before becoming a father, 2019, um that's when it really dawned on me that this role of fatherhood was more than just like being a caretaker, right? There was depth. There was like, okay, cool, my beliefs are going to get transferred over to my son. What's interesting is my wife is a 7-day Adventist, right? So she's she has her own beliefs,
By
but
the way,
at the
has she ever
core,
been in Polk County, Florida?
no.
because there's only Seventh-day Adventists and Christian people there. I was there for one of the solar girls that I was sweet on, and we went door knocking out there, and I
Oh,
spent
damn.
like weeks out there. Really cheap real estate, amazing people there, and all Seventh-day Adventists, which are amazing people,
Yeah.
and they actually get the Sabbath right out of the Christians there, you know.
And that's the thing. So it's like a different belief structure, but at the core of it, bro, yeah, it's Jesus, it's God, it's the Trinity, and that's it. And but it's always a process, dude. Because for me, like, there's been times in my life, like for example, when I left Oracle, I had the money, and then I got distracted, right? Because I was chasing. And so then when my son was born, 2019, that's when I was like, okay, let me get back deep, and I'm deepening my Christian faith. And then even more recently, 2020 to now 2026, music has played a huge part in that depth in terms of connection as well. Especially with the likes of Elevation Worship and some of these groups. It's just really feeling that connection, feeling that the spirit, right, flow through me, or like being very connected to it. So yeah, man. I mean, I've always been Christian. I've always been, Catholic or whatever. But um, more recently, it's become essential to my life because of the ups and downs of business, because of the ups and downs of sales, right?
Well, someone
Um,
explained it to me this, Lewis, and this is true. In business, it's business and God. When you're a
yeah.
business, it's you, manager, and then God. You have to answer to him, whether or
Mm,
not you want to say that or not. And it's
yeah.
funny, you did say something about elevation, worship, and spirit. Now, I am unapologetically a Jesus guy, right?
Hmm.
Meaning, apologetically, I believe in the Lord. I'm a born, whatever you want to say. There's a lot of weird Christians out there. I'm a born again Christian, right? In that point. With that said, I want to live a life that it just inspire people, right? And really inspire people the truth. You said there's a revival going on. I believe you ever see the movie? It's everybody should watch this movie. It's free on YouTube. There's a few ads. It's called Revelation. It's 1999 with Jeff Fahey. Have you ever seen that movie?
No, that one, no.
So it predicts the metaverse, it predicts fake news, predicts a lot of things
Mm,
coming in right now, and it tells the book. You've heard of the book Revelation and the Antichrist, right?
yeah.
So my LinkedIn newsletter that I'm going to post is actually going to be about the World Economic Forum. It's going to be a lot of stuff that like I just think that the Lord's put on my heart of like, hey, where the world's
Mm.
going, and if the Antichrist comes to power, what you should do to believe in Jesus over anything else as everything. So since nothing's off the title, they released a bunch of the Epstein files. What's your take on
Yeah.
that whole deal?
Yeah, man. I mean, so I saw a post, and this is my take on it because I resonate with that post. That post talks about, hey, there's killings, there's assassinations, there's child pornography and all this stuff going on. But at in the grand scheme of things, there's Jesus. In the grand scheme of things, there's goodness. In the grand scheme of things, there's all these other great things that don't get the spotlight, right? So my take on it is like it's happened, it's been happening. What can I do personally to continue to move the human race forward? And it starts with me, right? Being a good person, a good father, a good husband, a good Christian, whatever that means, right? Being faithful. And then to your point, demonstrating that and hopefully inspiring somebody else to say, because I'll post Bible verses and all these other pieces on stories around Christianity and stuff like that. So my take on it is, it's of course it's horrible, right? I've kind of known about it since 2020, since like and then now we can start to use words like pandemic and all those things, right? Because I had plenty of time to go down those rabbit holes and be on Twitter and go through all these different,
Pizzagate and all that.
yeah, all that stuff. And even before then, like the 9/11 stuff, and like there's a lot of stuff, there's a lot of controversies, conspiracy fact, right? So um at this point, because and the reason why I've pivoted more towards like, hey, that is happening, and also I have this other higher purpose mission, is because I've had friends, and I say in the past tense because they get so wrapped up in that, to the extent that they stop actually living and actually like being happy, bro, and being like alive and connected to the truth of what's going on now in their personal life. And so accountability is big. I think people need to go to jail, and politicians who have been pointed out, they should face consequences. And again, now bringing COVID in, like Fauci and all, like their accountability should be a primary source of like consequences, So that's what I believe in. But also, I can't be sitting here and spending all this time on forums and all these other places knowing that, hey, I have a son, I have a wife, I have all these things. And God's always here. And I'm of a believer of like everything happens for a reason, for a deeper purpose. And it allows me to let go. It allows me to let go
Well,
because
so
also,
there's a great book, and there's a verse in Ephesians. If we battle not against flesh and blood, but
yes,
powers and principalities, right?
yes.
And there's a book, This Present Darkness. And what I just think right now we're at, and by the way, such a great, and I can't go unnoticed because one thing I've noticed with the news and everything and all this stuff is Satan's biggest role is gossip, right? Getting people to talk about stuff,
Yeah.
right? And we don't talk how much, and women love gossip, right? Oh, what's the tea? What's the gossip?
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
gossip
yeah.
is so destructive. And literally, that's why Jesus says, "You only follow the truth. I am the truth. I am the way." Right? So
Mm,
even you, even with that answer, shows me a much more grounded answer. Like, hey, I'm not going to get caught up in the gossip and everything. One thing you did say, which I do agree, is people should be held accountable. And who knows, man, they could doctor names in it. I know one of the books I read, Zero to One or whatever, by Peter Thiel, a great book, right?
mm,
He's in the files on that. Doesn't
yeah,
look good for him. JD Vance, right? And like you
yeah.
have everybody trying to throw other people down for an agenda of just
Mm,
divisiveness, right?
yeah,
And I'm a synergist. I want to bring people together. I do always want to confront evil, right?
of course.
Pedophilia, all that
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah,
man.
yeah, yeah.
It happens. It's wrong. It should be front page news, and it's not. And there's a reason
Yeah,
why, right?
yeah,
100%. And now that we have these type of mediums, I feel called to just address it. Not as a
exactly.
gotcha thing, not to do it this way, to just say, hey, this is what I stand for and have more voices stand up on that. All right. With that
Exactly.
said, because I don't know how we're going to do this podcast with the Make More Money and throwing this in it. So we're probably going to rebrand to the Jeff J. Cunningham podcast since we have the new studio and stuff. But with that said, I want to get into the 5 questions that we always ask in the Make More Money contests. Lewis, first, before we go, and I usually ask this, where can people find more of you or your site or service? Any of these 50-year-old women who are trying to sell clothes and stuff.
Yeah, all the coaches. Yeah, and again, like if you're a coach and you're looking around to get support around sales and you realize, hey, there's a lot of like bro-y content, pushy content, and again, we don't have to name names. There's a lot of great trainers out there, but they have their audience. If you don't resonate with that, then come visit us over at school, SKOOL.com/aligned. Okay, school.com/aligned. It's a free community. It's a thriving community. We meet every single week. Or look me up on Instagram or YouTube at Luminary Louie. And yeah, it's all about, to your
By the way,
point,
on
man.
there, I didn't look through your Instagram. Do you have a signature brand story message to talk to like that client that you send out? Do you have that or no?
What do you mean by that, like
So
specifically?
it almost kind of be a message. So it goes in this format: emotion, value, or vision, and then a subtle call to action. So it's like if we did it
Mm,
this way. Have you ever been turned off by sales that you didn't want to close anybody and not
yeah,
make
yeah,
someone
yeah.
feel great? Well, I've seen that happen time and time again to women who just left a lot of money on the table and watched people not get help by letting it go. Right? I'm
Mm,
Lewis, and my mission is so no women be left
mm,
behind, and they have a community of this where they can then help people with the true service and not feel sleazy, right? So that's a bring us to story. I just did that
mm,
quick, but like you do it more with maybe a personal
yeah,
story and anchor
more
it in.
content. Okay.
Yeah, and then but it doesn't. You don't even need a ton of content. Like everybody always gets mad
Mm,
about me and my content. I have one brand message that goes out to the person clientele every time and connects, right? And that's what I do on my webinar. So what I do on our
mm,
webinar is really good. I basically tell that story in the beginning and the middle, and we do different ways, and we take out all the cheesiness of webinars now.
mm,
I love webinars. Like it's my
yeah.
my my jam, right? But all right. So that's great though. That's awesome. So yeah, check him out. We'll put the link in below about his school Align for that. And by the way, you're awesome. We're gonna have to bring you back when you come to Miami down here.
Yeah, man, that's what I was thinking. I know F1's out there and was
Yeah,
it March or coming
yeah, it
up in
was.
the spring?
Yeah. So you're a big
So who knows,
F1
man?
fan?
Oh yeah, 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 man. Big Checo fan, obviously, because he's Mexican and
Oh
he
yeah,
was
that's
in Red
right.
Bull and he's coming back now. So
Red Bull. Yeah, no, okay. All right. So here are the 5 questions. So that's where they can find. Well, we'll get back from that. All right. Best relationship advice. So you said you have a kid. How long you been married for, or together?
yeah, so we've been together since 2011, married 2015. So last December we celebrated our 10-year anniversary, man.
Man, that's congrats. The most I've been, I think, was like 2.5 years. Right, I'm not married yet. I'm 40. I'm a good-looking guy out here in Miami with all these
There you
distractions, and
go, brother.
and I'm trying to find my first lady. So what? But one thing that scares me more, as any lady knows who's been with me, is relationships. Right? Is not working. Right? And I've obviously figured out the business relationship thing because
Yeah.
it's kind of in that realm. And maybe you can liken it. What's the best relationship tip you have for ten
Yeah,
years?
intimate relationship, right? Like a
Yeah.
marriage and stuff like that. It starts with you. It starts with you. So for me, talking to myself, I really had to come face to face with my own ego, with my own expectations. I had a lot of fucking expectations. As by the way, as a Mexican man in a marriage, I had a ton of fucked up beliefs around what my wife should do, and the cooking and this and that and the third, and they were unspoken expectations, and then I would find myself angry or upset and frustrated, and then I'm like, but then why am I not getting the sex and the love and the affection that I want and need? Oh, well, dude, because you're a fucking asshole. Like, hey, what if you take a step back and realize that you're not giving love and affection, therefore you're not receiving it? So that's the best advice that I can give myself, because that's what I've realized has produced the biggest shifts is watch in a good way, right? Watch your mouth, watch your words, because as the Bible says, that's what's going to produce the fruits and the results. And so for me, it's really about look at yourself in the mirror, right? And where, honestly speaking, are you allowing ego to take over and not letting, not in a cliche way, but love lead the way?
That's great, man. I connect a lot to it too. All right, next question. Best money tip. So maybe for someone just starting out, they're starting out their business, they're going out, they're starting a thing. What's the best money tip you have?
I'll go with Warren Buffett. The best investment is to invest in yourself, right? And again, hopefully my story demonstrates the reason why, and why I'm even here too. It's through networking, it's through investing time, energy, effort, money to grow, to develop. So if you do anything, work in a 9 to 5, work part-time, whatever it takes, but get money so that you can then build yourself, so that you can eventually build a business or build investments for you to be in a good space, financially, not just financial security, not just financial freedom. There's this guy Ken Honda, if you guys don't know about him, check him out, Happy Money. He talks about financial abundance, but again, his whole thing is doing it from a place of not just chasing but being fulfilled.
Yeah, no, I love that, man. Best investment is in yourself. Great money tip. But let's ask this then. What's one of the best maybe books you've read?
I think the book that really hit me is Viktor Frankl. I have it here. It's called
Oh,
Man's
man,
Search
search
for
for
Meaning.
meaning. Yeah. Oh
Yeah,
my goodness.
yeah, because of his stories and just the contrast. It's like, dude, whatever you're going through, you're never gonna be in a space where you're barefoot. I'm getting chills thinking about it. Walking in the snow, carrying all this shit, doing a lot of heavy lifting, heavy work, knowing your wife is probably out there somewhere dead and your family is, like, you're never going to be in that situation, bro. So we have no right to complain, and I get almost emotional about that. It's like, it's perspective. It's perspective.
Yeah, no, dude, I love that. That's the favorite book. Actually, when I release after we get off this, I'm going to be writing a LinkedIn or Substack newsletter. I'm going to
Mm,
reference that book, especially with everything going on in the world, because you guys got to read that book. If you haven't read that book, it's in your mind is so controlled, and he was in the dire systems in the Holocaust. It was
yeah, I
insane.
got
You
it
have
right
it
here.
right there. Yeah. I got to put that on my bookshelf. I left that one back in Connecticut, probably. I got to make the whole bookshelf on the back. It's funny. Everybody wants the big backgrounds. The books are like the best backgrounds, right? All right.
Man,
Last question that we always ask. Oh, so I was a teacher. I taught behavior middle school. I used to teach kind of like, it wasn't really coding, but coding, video editing, music studio, right? I left it. I taught a money management class. I taught music studio. After my brother passed away, I was going to build this coffee shop, like music studio, podcast studio, right? And here I'm on the journey.
mm,
But I felt like we weren't teaching the right stuff in schools. What do you think we
mm,
could do to change the education system? Because America at a debt, and whether it's a young Mexican or a young American,
yeah.
they're especially with AI and everything, they're learning at such a role. What can we do to change the education system?
Yeah, because my wife is in education, she's a preschool teacher, and one of the biggest, if I can use the word, and again, I'm sure they don't use this word, but one of the biggest complaints it's actually the parents,
Yeah.
right? So it goes back to the relationship stuff, right? It's like it starts with you. It really does. And so as a parent, and by the way, I'm not good at this, but my wife is. She's huge on evening routine. Read a book, read a Bible, pray a Bible verse, pray. She does that almost every single brush her teeth. Like she's very methodical about that. So that's my recommendation as a parent, or maybe a spouse, right? Your spouse, like if she's maybe better at this than you, or as a team, work together to establish consistency in your child's or nieces or somebody that you can influence in their life, because it really just starts at home. And the way that children behave at school is usually how they are at home.
That's so true. Being, by the way, I love that's the best advice I've gotten. I've asked this question on all the podcasts. That is the best one I give because you're right. We can change and put people through
Yeah.
boxes, but if you don't, so any parent listening to this, if you do this, I want you to tag Lewis or myself, Jeff the Entrepreneur. Where can they tag you on Instagram? What's your
At Luminary Louis.
Luminary
Luminary
Louis? All
Louis.
right, and let me know you did the Luminary Louis routine. Let it go viral. Where I don't care if you're a drug addict dad or anything, whatever you are, okay?
Yeah.
You do a nightly routine with your kid. You go
Yeah.
call your kid. You tell your wife you're going to do it. You do the wife. You do it. Someone set up. If you're a single parent, you just do this nightly routine. You read the Bible. You do something. I think if we can make that go viral, it will help more people in that alone, right? In this education system. I just, dude, you have a God-given gift, Lewis. If I knew this when I got on. And by the way, not too many people have me on their podcast, and immediately I ask right away and do everything. And I usually do research, all this stuff. If you know, we've had some, giants on this podcast, right?
Yeah.
And I realized I now what's the word? I want to open it up more, right? God's given me so much in this point. I want to open up more people to this because it's just too important, right? And just certain things you got to listen to the Holy Spirit when He says, "Hey, have Lewis
Yeah.
on." So, all right, man, thank you so
Amen.
much. They can find you, Lewis. Lewis, this has been a great podcast. I know it went a little longer. I
I
tend to
know.
do podcasts this way. Thank you for being a good sport about all the questions. Is there any
Appreciate that.
last advice you want to leave with anybody?
Yeah, the last thing is for you to really live the, if I can say, the life of your dreams. Again, it starts with self-leadership, and that's really the core of what I teach my people when I connect with them. Yeah, sales, tactics, frameworks, but it's really just about how do we become a better person, and it starts with us, starts with God, and at the end of the day, it starts with connecting with people like you, Jeff. So appreciate you, my man. But yeah, thanks so much.
Appreciate you, man. I look forward to doing more. That's Lewis, man, on the Make More Money podcast. Out. Okay, my biggest takeaway from this podcast was exactly that. Was that you can make service and there's not one right person to teach something. Being a teacher, teaching behavioral middle school kids years ago, I was teaching coding, video editing, music studio, mostly video editing, and we actually taught a money management class for a little bit. I learned that in that time that there's no one way to do it. If you're just starting your journey and maybe you're a little scared, right? The best thing to ever do is brand yourself, right? And as Lewis is trying to brand himself and starting a podcast, great thing to do, he decided to take an approach of a more gentle approach teaching sales for people who lose sales. And he's grown his school community to this level. Now, I do want to say this, we are bringing back our t-shirt, our merch line that we started, just like Logan Paul had the Maverick, and it took off. You have PBD with his shoes, right? Now we have our My Dreams Keep Me Awake store with the book that I have coming out, My Dreams Keep Me Awake. We have Inspire Others Always, which is my main brand logo if I ever run for office here. And then this one's great, especially in the economy right now, which is so tough. This is what I did when it was so tough. I created a shirt when I needed to first save money. I collect 100, save to invest. This shirt is only gonna be around for a limited time. It has the blue and that. I don't even know if it's in the link below, but if it is, go grab one. You'll be surprised the testimonies I got from people wearing this shirt, getting this shirt, how people there was a girl door knocking and someone gave her $100, right? And they'd send it and they'd tag me. And I kind of got away from that, building all these other brands. But in 2026, we're building a coffee shop, we're doing it all. And I'd love to see you a part of it. And if you wear the merch, like some people have to some of the events, always makes you feel great. So, all right, get the merch below. See you then.